Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to get into something pretty fundamental: how our bodies turn the food we eat into actual energy. We'll look at how it's supposed to work, and then what happens when that system breaks down. And that, right there, is the story of diabetes. So let's just dive right in.
So, have you ever really stopped to think about it? How does that sandwich you had for lunch become the energy that's powering you through the rest of your day? It's happening inside you, right this second. I mean, your body is this incredible machine, always turning food into fuel. But how does it actually do it? Let's follow that journey, from your plate all the way down to your cells.
All right, before we can really get into what goes wrong, we've got to understand what right looks like, right? So let's start with the basics. Think of this next part as kind of like the owner's manual for your body's amazing fuel system.
Okay, so the main character in this whole story is something called glucose. Whenever you eat carbs, stuff like bread, pasta, fruit, even milk, your body breaks it all down into this simple sugar. You can totally think of glucose as the high-octane fuel for your cells. It's what powers pretty much everything you do.
So, once that glucose hits your bloodstream, your body's internal alarms go off. Not in a bad way, it just detects that rise in blood sugar. And that signal tells this small but super important gland called the pancreas, hey, it's go time. The pancreas then releases a hormone that is, well, it's absolutely crucial for this whole process. It's called insulin.
And this is really where the key analogy, pun intended, comes into play. If glucose is the fuel, think of insulin as the key. It's the key that lets that fuel get into your body's engines, which are your cells.
So here's how that healthy cycle is supposed to work. It's pretty straightforward. Step 1, you eat, and that food turns into glucose in your blood. Step 2, your pancreas senses this and releases that insulin key. Step 3, the insulin travels over to one of your body's cells and, just like a key, it unlocks the door. And finally, step 4, glucose walks right in through that open door and gets used for energy. It's a beautiful, simple process that keeps your blood sugar levels just right and everything in perfect balance.
But what happens when that system breaks down? Because for some people, it does. And this brings us to type 1 diabetes. Using our analogy, you can think of this as the missing key problem.
Now, before we get deeper into that, it's really useful to get some perspective. Of all the people who have diabetes, only about 10% have type 1. The other 90%, well, that's type 2. So while type 1 is incredibly serious, it's actually much less common. So what is type 1? It's what's called an autoimmune condition. What that means is the body's own immune system gets confused and, for reasons we're still figuring out, it mistakenly attacks and destroys the very cells in the pancreas that make insulin. So, going back to our analogy, the key factory has been completely destroyed. There are just no keys being made at all.
And the result of that is, well, it's pretty direct and very serious. All that fuel, all that glucose from the food you ate is now just stuck, floating around in your bloodstream. It has nowhere to go. It can't get into your cells because there are no insulin keys to open the doors. So your blood sugar just climbs higher and higher, while at the very same time, and this is the crazy part, your cells are literally starving for the energy they need to function.
Okay, so that's the missing key problem. Now let's talk about the much more common version, type 2 diabetes. And here the problem is completely different. It's not about a missing key, it's about a broken lock. You see, with type 2, the pancreas is actually still doing its job. It's making insulin. The keys are there. The problem is with the cells themselves. The locks on the cell doors just aren't working right. They've become resistant. The source material had a great way of putting it. They've become kind of furred up, so the key goes in, but it won't turn. The lock is jammed.
So what does the body do? Well, the pancreas goes into overdrive. It starts pumping out more and more and more insulin, basically trying to flood the system with keys to force those stubborn locks open. But you can imagine, after years of working that hard, the pancreas can just get exhausted. It gets worn out, and eventually it just can't make enough insulin to keep up anymore.
So whether you've got the missing key problem or the broken lock problem, the end result is high blood sugar. So how does your body try to tell you something's wrong? What are the warning signs you should be looking out for?
Well, when all that sugar is building up in your blood, your body gets desperate to flush it out. So your kidneys start working overtime to get rid of it through your urine. That's why one of the biggest signs is having to go to the bathroom a lot. And of course, if you're doing that, you're going to feel incredibly thirsty all the time. Makes sense, right? Plus, since your cells aren't getting any fuel, you feel totally exhausted. Your body might even start burning fat for energy instead, which can cause you to lose weight without even trying. Other signs like blurry vision or cuts that take forever to heal, that's all part of this high-sugar environment causing problems all over.
Okay, and here's a really, really important difference between the two types: how fast the symptoms show up. With type 1, because the insulin supply is just cut off, the symptoms come on fast and hard. We're talking about just a few weeks. But with type 2, it's the total opposite. The symptoms develop so slowly, sometimes over many, many years, that people don't even notice them. And that's exactly why it can be so dangerous, because it can go undiagnosed for a very long time.
So there you have it. We've gone from a simple meal all the way down to the intricate mechanics of our cells. We've seen how this tiny little key called insulin is absolutely vital for powering our entire body and what happens when that system breaks down. Knowing how all this works, that's powerful stuff. And it really leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? Could understanding these signs and knowing what to look for help?
Subscribe to my channel for simple, science-backed health tips. No calories, just smart hydration and portion control.